So Steven Matz, a lot of teams were pursuing him in free agency this offseason, but he makes a decision and he signs with the St. Louis Cardinals, 4 years, $44 million. So that's a pretty good contract for Matz, who's pretty much a pitcher that's only had one good season in his career. We know he's had a lot of injuries. We know he was inconsistent with the New York Mets, but what definitely helped him last season as well, in my opinion. He played with a great Toronto Blue Jay offense. So last year, in his best career year and healthiest season for Steven Matz, on the year 14-7 in 150 innings and 2/3, 158 hits given up, 64 earned runs, 18 homers, 43 walks, 144 strikeouts, a 3.82 ERA, 1.33 whip, and 9 quality starts. So right here, Toronto loses him as a starter. But hey, he went out there, he pitched pretty decent baseball. I'm not going to say the greatest, like I mentioned, because he had a good offense definitely backing him up. So right here, a bunch of teams, Red Sox, the Mets were interested in bringing him back. Obviously, Toronto as well. But he ultimately lands with the St. Louis Cardinals. And the Cardinals, they needed starting pitching this offseason. But to give him a 4-year deal is a lot, in my opinion, because this guy, one good year, like I mentioned, a lot of injuries in his career as well, and a lot of inconsistencies and bad seasons in the National League when he was on the Mets. But right here to land in the NL Central is a pretty decent landing spot. We know there's not that many great teams in the Central besides the Brewers he's got to worry about, and that's about it pretty much for the most part here this season. So Steven Matz, it was smart to him to sign early in the offseason, the day before Thanksgiving, and he gets the contract, and you don't have to worry about the new CBA that's going to come up in a few weeks. So we might see quick free agency this year in the major leagues, where a lot of these players are going to sign right before December within the next week. So as far as fantasy baseball goes, Steven Matz, he's probably a pitcher you're going to take in the middle rounds of your league. But I'm not going to expect him to go 14-7 again this year. I think he was comfortable because that Toronto Blue Jay offense obviously could score runs, 6-7 runs a game easily. And he did get a lot of run support, but the ERA definitely was pretty solid last season in an American League East division. That's always tough with a 3.82. But right here, I just don't think he's going to duplicate the numbers with wins, and he's not going to duplicate it with the ERA. I could be wrong, but right here, I'm not expecting Steven Matz to do what he did last season. And it was another thing that gave him incentive. It was a contract season, because if he had another horrible year like he did the year before and a few years with the New York Mets, he would have got a 1-year prove-it deal. But right here, he gets the long-term deal. Good for him, the one good year. And that's all it takes for some of these guys, that one good year to get the contract. So Steven Matz lands with the St. Louis Cardinals. And we'll see if he could have another good season with St. Louis, or he was just a fluke like I think he was last year, heading into the 2022 fantasy baseball and MLB season.